Hello, this is Cuckoo. I'm here with a very special guest. I'm his guest, but on my channel, he's my guest. This is David Vien from Plogue, one of my favorite software companies of all times.
We actually wanted to meet for a long time. We knew each other through chats and emails for 15 years or more.
Yeah, that's right.
Finally meeting you, like I missed you at NAM or Music Messe and you weren't going and I was going.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're
that's right.
coming in.
15 years of wonderful synthesizers, software synthesizers.
Thank you.
So if you don't know, Plogue is making mainly from the stuff that I use is the software synthesizer versions of old chips, mostly coming from old video games, but also old synthesizers.
More and more synthesizers and more on the way.
Yeah.
I pick up this console defectors, unknown problems, $5, fix it. But this one has the eye division and graphic. So it means it's a discrete YM2612. And if you know my channel, I love my 2612. So.
And if you know my channel, you know I love this stuff. So
my channel.
Just having a Sega Mega Drive, that I call it, Sega Mega Drive chip music, it's wonderful.
And that's what.
Coincidentally, we have.
Coincident. Yeah. Well, not that coincident.
No.
I had this planned.
But anyhow, this guy's been at it for such a long time, so many years. And
small team of 3.
Yeah,
I can't take all the credit.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, fair point. There was at some point you mentioned the term preservation project. Yeah. Is that like internally what you call it?
I think you're the one that made it official.
Yeah, yeah.
I might have mentioned that to you.
Yeah,
it's true, but it's not like an official goal, is it?
Yeah.
It's a mantra, I guess.
Yeah, but you've since released how many kind of chips?
Well, initially we made one in 2009 called Chipsounds.
Yeah.
Which had a bunch of chips inside, but sticking with the 8-bit square wavy things, all together with a few fun additions, and that was just to test the waters, and that worked. But then we wanted to make the update to that and add all the FM sounds and the 16-bit generation, so Sega Genesis. And Super Nintendo with a bunch of early sampling. And lots of cool FMs that are grimy and grungy in their own way. Yeah. But then we wanted to put so many things in the same product and at the same time being very accurate and exact to the workflow and to the ethics, not the ethics, but the way that things were made and programmed and how the musicians approached that particular platform, that putting it all inside a Chipsounds 2.0, it was very risky commercially and put all the efforts and time on one big product that would have taken us 10 years to make, and said, let's cut this in half, divide and conquer style, and let's start by making the simple one, which is support FM. Two operator synth like in the Yamaha OPL. Yeah, so many porta sounds. Yeah. You can pick them up. All of these have very crummy 2-operator FM chips. Like this is a similar one. That's a little Yamaha drum machines with 2 pads. It has an FM chip in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I'm kind of a tech hoarder in a way.
Yeah.
I say whatever I buy, I usually repair or eventually end up in a product. So it's kind of, sometimes when you're hoarding, there's no stopping to it, and but now the justification is easy. Is that I'm buying this to make an eventual product, my love.
How many Mega Drives or Genesises did you buy for recreating the chip?
I bought upwards of 10, but I got even more models because we created a ROM chip and we sent to a guy that had even more variants.
Oh yeah.
And he recorded test tones on it, so we got the spectral fingerprints, if you want, of this that particular model.
Because that's one of the driving factors for you to kind of hoard eBay.
So
the variants, and they sound slightly, ever so slightly different.
So for each FM chip, I have a board. So that's the box that's only for all the OPN variants. So you have the YM2203 there. You have, what's that? Oh yeah, that's my multi-chip. So 3 variants of the OPN2. One that's surface mount, and the one that's in the Genesis is up here. So the 2612 is here. This is an OPA, driven by a teensy no less. These things are getting rare and expensive, but they weren't.
These are your kind of disassembled and isolated testing board?
This is the testing board that I used to create for every sound chip.
Yeah.
But figured out once, after a while, these get very, like I have custom connectors and powers, and I need to remember like what's +5, what's -5, what did I drive this with, and which order. So each time I had to revisit the old stuff to fix them, or because someone says, oh, I'm pretty sure that you got this particular sound wrong. And they may be right. Sometimes they are. But I'm so obsessed just by the thought of being wrong at one point and not getting things right. So I need to plug that back in. So this is where I came up with the idea of the Genesis chip is in a Famicom cartridge. So you might not know, but the Famicom is the Japanese predecessor to the Nintendo Entertainment System, but it had the particularity of passing the native console audio direct through the connector and back with a loop out.
Oh wow!
Most old games didn't do that, but at a certain point they started doing it. So basically what I meant to say is that these cards can accept audio and mix it with the rest of the system. Since I've modified those as well and changed a CPU for a synthesizer that I'm never going to ship, but it's fun as a prototype, I decided instead of dealing with these cards all the time and figuring out like how to hook them up, and was it on a TNZ, what is on an FTDI serial to thingy converter, F that. So I have a ROM here that tells the host this is the card that holds a OPN2 chip, and it runs at its clock to this precise clock. So the host system runs that. It knows how to play the song and be in the right pitch, because the pitch depends eventually on the clock that's been used. And there's various ones out there. I have a box just with remarked. So these are Yamaha chips, essentially, that have been modified and remarked. So I have a whole video on the topic. Basically, they sand the cover. They recycle them from old chips. So they're 14Bs. So basically, you get all these crap e-waste material that's going to China. These were mostly used famously in the TX 81Z, so the famous. So all of these probably have played lately bass at some point.
Yeah.
But they were sanded and they remarked them, so they look all the same. But that's just a lie. Yeah. But all of these are working.
Cool.
So I have a whole box full of various generation Yamaha chips that are remarked. They still work, and I test them, and I know for sure because they match the sound footprint of what they're supposed to be. But still, I don't feel comfortable in putting them in prototype products, except for this thing, but that's a prototype card. All the Yamaha FM chips that are surface mount, so OPL3s, which are in the Twisted Electrons.
Yeah.
Good job taking OPL3s.
Yeah, those are really cool.
They're very easy to come by. They sound great. They're easy to work electrically. They're new. You can find them new. They're not remarked, so that's a good thing. So all these are categorized parts and pieces for all the chips and things that I need when I either design new prototype boards or I need to test something. But I have a lot of stuff in a small room, in a small house. So it's always a challenge to... I don't have time to clean. No. So I have piles of stuff. You don't want to see that.
But you have your own place. Even if it doesn't look organized, I can see like there is a system here.
There's a tower of Ness is here. Seen the tower of Ness?
But when you start out a project, like let's say you're going to recreate a certain chip, where do you start? What's kind of what's the procedure? Because you need to document the chip somehow.
Sure, yeah. I guess it depends on how much the chip is done was already analyzed initially, because there's some things that are really unknown where we're really the first one tackling something, and there are other stuff where that's been done a few times. So there's lots of already public documentation. Okay. Yeah. In that case, if there's already something public, I'm not talking about source code because we don't look at that. We look at what people say the chip does, and if they say it does something and we're curious, we just rerun more tests. So when I showed you the board, let's say this. Yeah, so in here I put some custom tests on the SD card. put it on, press button, and all the chip writes are sent to 3 variants of the chip. So I can, and I record the outputs digitally when I can, because these ones don't have digital outputs. This one does. So this one, since it has a digital output, it's godsend for us, because we can really we can replicate exactly what comes out of it. So we make hundreds of tests, and we send it to all of them at the same time. But since we want to model the analog one, we have to make sure that it matches the digital one in terms of how the waveform is behaving. If the waveform is behaving the same between the analog and the digital one, we're going to say, fine, great, we're going to take the digital model and dirty it with filters and wavetables, wave shaping distortions and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's a thing. So we basically start with, we sometimes start just with the VGM files, so whatever was captured from the original games. We make sure that we're able to recreate the playback of those songs. We slow them down, we start to mute channels. Okay, so that's interesting. So that channel jumps from this to that, or does a sweep. So we sometimes just take the same information, modify it. So there's already a lot of trivial info that you can gather, even if a chip is absolutely not documented anywhere, just by looking at how the CPU talks to it, and what you know so far about like the typical Yamaha style of wrapping, making a chip and how it works internally. You know, you have your registers, your ADSRs. You know, you're gonna have your attack and decay in the same register, and your sustain and release in another one, because they've always done that. So you kind of know some of these things like that. So it's a long process of making sure it works. And if you change the code, oftentimes what happens is that test 1 is going to stop working, and test 2 is going to work. So it's a whack-a-mole sort of, and I've done that recently with the Nintendo. About like, at one point you get a model, and if there's something vague that you don't know, is it doing this thing or that other thing, that warrants another test. So we make another one. So at one point, all the tests run. We have a digital match between our emulation core and the chip, and we all store that and run that on servers. But
the way you recreate it, you need to create like algorithms.
To
reproduce.
It's basically if the chip accesses a table, a sign table, we do the same thing. We accumulate the frequency into a register, and we take a snapshot of the waveform at that moment, and we send it, and we figure out, okay, so that's a carrier, that's a modulator, it does an ADSR, and at a certain point, because it's digital, you can start with just a sine waveform. You do that, you know you have that perfectly. Okay, so let's start one carrier with ADSR, and you get that ADSR right. So you know if you had a modulator on it, and you know Yamaha, the ADSR is going to work the same. So now you just say, okay, how the modulation is applied, what's the strength of it, and sometimes you have bizarre little edge cases where you need to take a previous iteration value and apply it, or sometimes do that, and sometimes take the application of 2 modulators and round it, so you're gonna lose precision on the 2 coming in. So all of these little things in an FM chip can create all these fuzzy little gritty sound at certain points. It's all everything you do, when you create a typical VST, you want to have perfection. So you're looking at perfect wavetables, and you look at the graphs. You don't want aliasing, but when you're modeling that, that's what people want. You want to have that original dirt that were essentially compromises by Yamaha designers in terms of what was on the die.
And sometimes, like speaking of the Mega Drive chip MD, if you run it a little hot, it actually kind of distorts a little bit at the top when the level is at the maximum. And then you need to also, what do you do with stuff like that? It's not following the math. Now you need to be creative, right?
There's clipping going on inside the DACs at various points. So if you're driving, I mean, they wanted to preserve as much headroom as possible, just like we do now. So they basically decided, like at a certain point in the mixer, there's going to be clipping. So there's various clips in various stages on the output on the Yamaha before the DAC, sometimes on the DAC itself.
Are there many cases where kind of the math suggests it should do one thing, but then when you actually test it, it doesn't do exactly that?
If you look at official service manuals, or I mean, there's some gritty details that are implementation specific in terms of what's on the die, that the math heads that designed the thing at a higher level, and what they took from Shouning patents, that, I mean, Shouning wouldn't know exactly how Yamaha engineer tweaks stuff and make sure with the less amount of transistors possible on a die to do exactly that and boost the number of voices, boost the modulation or whatever. So there's lots of compromises that were made that, depending on the system, like a DX7, there's much less compromises than a OPL2 or OPLL. And so they decided to crunch the amount of transistors they use for certain parts. And when they did that, they had to compromise the sound. But that's what makes some of the earlier chips very grainy and desirable, because they sound like no other modern VST that tries to be perfect can do. Yeah. But we don't have any merit. It's the Yamaha engineers did that for us. We just tried to replicate exactly what they did and replicate the exact same stuff. So we didn't invent new grit. It was there before. And we love it.
Maybe it's also just at the time they chose the components and it ended up to be what it was.
Yeah.
But maybe it was like half intended, half like an economic decision.
And sometimes they don't know they made an error.
Yeah.
And nobody ever stumbled into this error before until
they didn't have
the
time.
MSX people or the Yamaha SciSX programmers. So that's weird. The die is already written. Just don't write this particular value.
Yeah. Cool. What are the typical hurdles? Like, is there a place in the process where you can see already now that normally we reach this state here and then we kind of have to crunch for a year?
Yeah, it's it's like everyone and every sort of field. If you work on something too long, you get nearly all the way there, and the last remaining 3 or 5% are like hell.
Yeah.
You can spend months. It was that way with the Commodore 64, just training the models that we had and like figuring out why certain songs sounded good and others not. So all the tweakings of millions of parameters as kind of a crude sort of midpoint where, okay, with these sort of settings, especially in case of analog stuff, because we don't have this issue with the digital stuff at all. It works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's bit accurate or it's not. But for the analog stuff, we've done some of that with the Commodore 64 and something else I can't say yet, but we're doing it. We're probably going to end up doing a VA, but our style. I'll let you guess what that is. You do a test and then you figure out, like, this register goes from 0 to, I don't know, 7F, which is 127. And all the firmwares out there only do like from 20 to, I don't know, 6F or something like that. So the remaining range hasn't been used much at all. So you try that, then you say, okay, what happens if this is 0 and this other register is 0? So you keep thinking of edge cases that no one's have heard about. So you do tests for the edge cases. Oh, so that means the chip that does that. So you change it and all the other tests stop working.
Yeah.
So to get everything right and not BS our way out of it, sometimes it can be very, very long. And I'm sure that the remaining half year that we work on some of our chip synths, it's just for us because we know we have to do it right. And 90% of customers wouldn't know the difference, but we do it anyway. Yeah. So it's really not a good ROI. Don't go in that field if you want a good ROI. It's just, you need to be crazy.
You need to be crazy, and I think I could tell that you're crazy.
In a good way.
In a good way.
No worries. I take it.
It's when you get goosebumps for hearing something that you've done, and you don't really know why. You just like, oh. There's the tingling sensation that tells me that, oh, this is so good. Yeah. And I had that with most of what you do. Like the Chip MD was extreme for me because it's so nostalgic.
Your personal link with it. But you've heard it a million times. You know what it sounds like. Yeah.
I presented some critique to Roland at one point. They had me. This is not going to tell what product it was, but they had me listen to one of their products at some point, and then I told them. It was pretty good, but then I told them, like, if you really want to reproduce older technology with new modern like emulation, take a listen to this guy. And then I showed them some of your stuff.
Okay.
And they had the same experience, like, oh my gosh, this is
for real.
Yeah,
you never told me that before.
So, no, I haven't told anyone.
I'm surely blushing. Yeah. One thing you did in the past that's really stuck with me in one of your videos was. And it's true, and that's why I like doing what we do. You say, with digital synths, when you go in the bass range, it loses their mojo, was your exact words.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, especially with FM stuff, modern FM stuff, could be a little too clinic. And it just sounds different.
But it's for the mats, it's right.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
For what we want, for what we're used to, the bass range needs to have some.
Yeah.
That's where all the low level, all the timers that run too slow and steppy, you kind of hear it more in the bass range.
But it sounds like a machinery that you kind of turn a wheel a little slower in the stuff that you recreate, which is incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, because you have some digital clicks that you don't want in VSTs, but in these FM chips, it's all small little clicky things in all parts of the calculation that ends up being this mashup of little crunchy things.
Yeah. And also, cool. I've tried a couple of times to run your software in like 192 kilohertz.
Yeah.
Just to create some wavetables and stuff. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It doesn't stop at the normal range. You go full on.
Yeah, I mean, if the wavetable runs at, I mean, some of these things have high frequencies. I run those. At the DX7, we run at 16 times.
Oh wow!
16 times 55 kilohertz with the carrier frequencies. So if you put that into other plugins, you're going to have some spikes of high frequency. You can turn that off, but that's what the real hardware does, so that's what I'm going to do it. Even if you send other VSTs in there, they might go crazy because there's high frequency content in the 50Ks or whatever. Sorry, I have to be like hardware.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Do you have like some specific chip in mind that was really meaningful to you?
Oh.
Like on a personal level?
On a personal level?
It doesn't have to be personal.
Oh no, it is personal.
Yeah.
Okay. It has to be personal. One more box. At least, hey, I'm structured. So this is my box of SIDS.
Yeah. Commodore 64.
Yeah, so these are all the chips that have been used in Chipsounds C64. Some are remarks. So this is the stash of very good ones. So see how different they are.
Imagine a guy opening his coat. No, this is the good stuff.
And you don't want to look the price on these, and they're all working.
Yeah.
So all of these have working filters, and they're all different characteristics. So they're FC curve is not the same. The distortion coefficient when you go to a certain range is different. At one point in the middle of the middle of the frequency sweep, it goes back a bit and it goes up. I mean, for me, oh, this was there. That's what you were hiding.
I've been looking for it.
Unbelievable! I was looking for that probe. Yeah, so that's my box of SIDS. So for me, I have one right here.
For me, I grew up in Sweden, and the Commodore 64 was really, really popular when I was a kid. But all I could hear was just the music that were in the games, and that was incredible. Wow.
So I made this ZIF socket here because I was keep taking them in and out, and a special board here to tweak the noise level of the input, because this takes external audio input. So it's fully recapped, and that is the Commodore 64 that was used for all the tests, because you don't want, but each of them has a different filtering caps and stuff like that. So you really want to have one common baseline for all the chips. So all the sounds, all the recordings for that brand, for the 6581s were recorded. And that little bread bin here.
Did you learn to program?
Yes.
On a Commodore 64?
Actually not.
No.
I learned to program on
Amiga?
Nope. No? Go back. Way back.
Spectrum.
No.
ZX.
No.
Amstrad.
No. Come on, you can do it.
IBM.
No, could have been, but...
VIC-20.
Yes!
Oh, I got it. I just skipped the Commodore because I thought it was something else, but yeah, it was close.
Yeah, I think,
Closer than-
in fact, I think this is the one that I got as a kid.
Oh,
It has this
look at this.
smell,
Oh,
this particular smell that I recall. My
show the box.
Yep, that's the one. That is why I have a job
Look at this.
doing exactly what I want to
Vic,
do in life.
this is how this is you in this
Yep.
picture. You were like a happy kid.
Yep. This is me on a Sunday or Saturday morning. This is the VIC-20
Oh,
that my dad bought with the old badge here.
Oh wow.
Old school power supply, just the AC, 9-volt AC.
Yeah.
It has that particular smell.
Oh really? Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
smell this, I smell my youth.
Yeah.
So I keep it in the box so it preserves this smell so it doesn't smell my new house.
Yeah. VIC-20. Because this is like a computer. You could just turn it on and start
Yeah.
coding, like basic.
Yes, and it's a good thing because right now if you turn on there's nothing wrong with game consoles and modern computers, but if you were bored in those days and you only had so much games that the only thing you could do not to get bored is to learn to code.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else. You turn it on, there's a basic prompt. So what does that do? And the manuals for the Commodore, for Michael Tomasic. Well, the VIC-20 sound chip is not that bad, but the problem is the output stage just distorts like crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what we fondly remember. It's basically a transistor that badly do its job, but it's not the fault of the transistor, it's the fault of the engineer that put it there and how it was hooked up.
Did you feel like there was a gap in the market, or why did you suddenly started doing this?
That's interesting because inside the company, nobody wanted to. There's plenty, and there were already plenty of free plugins doing Nintendo and Commodore 64 and stuff like that. I just said, I don't know, I think I can do it better. It's like the hubris of the thing.
Yeah. I think it did.
But it's not that the market really wanted more, I think. It's really just, I want something more. There needs to be someone that takes this seriously and put the effort into it and doing it right. And I've never stopped doing. That's been the company philosophy since we didn't know. Like, it was just one thing we tried. We had the sampling engine, and that sampling engine can also be used with an SDK to hook up with synthesizer voices. So we created all the synthesizer voice of the basic waveforms of the Nintendos and VIC-20s and stuff like that. But the SID especially was not the best implementation around. It was like kind of, cherche le mot en anglais. What's the mot in anglais? Compromise, so. And people really hit me hard on the head, like, don't buy this, SID is crappy, so you just wait. I spent 10 years like working part-time on making something better, but we worked on all these. That's a fun thing of having, and I've showed you the 4 chip synths in the pipe that I haven't released. If we get bored on one, we just jump on the other and jump on the other. So we have, it's better because in the long run, each of these synthesizers get worked on and you're never bored. Because if you say, absolutely, I need to ship this one, and you can stall out or page blank or procrastinate around it but procrastinating is what we've been kind of doing for the past year. But we've moved everything to Linux.
Oh wow, that is a big step.
After years of people asking us, and I don't know, I just didn't understand or see the point up until the point where I collect all bunch of garbage stuff, and I have a short video that I haven't released yet about a pile of 15 of these. Okay, these are Chromebooks that schools just get rid of completely. It's a Celeron dual core, 2 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabytes of space. It can do anything you need a normal computer to do, even track it in. Renoise works on this, and everything works on this. And just seeing that in a dumpster because Google decided not to support this particular Chromebook just hit me on the head. I'm always on the lookout. So I bought 15 of these. My son has one. Friends' kids have one. The team all have one. So that's really the time where we'll put Linux on that. And so that's going to be a test bench for, this is relatively speaking a really low powered Linux machine, but if it works on that, it works everywhere else. So.
Sounds like a cuckoo sound.
quite happy. And this brings me to all the other things I started putting Linux on and trying to code on. So it's kind of, I mean, it's typical the thing of I want Doom to run on a toaster. Well, that's me for my old synthesizer engine and the modern ones. So everything that runs on Linux ARM64 is done as well, and I have a few things in the pipes that might or might not use this.
Yeah. That's really cool, but it's very forward thinking as well. Like Linux has been around for some time. It's going to be around for some time, and it's starting to appear in many music devices as well.
And starting, that's going to be very nerdy, but starting kernel 6.1, so everything that came out, all the distribution that came out a year or so ago, all have preemptive multitasking baked in. So they can be soft real time if you tweak them, if you put the right kernel stuff. So the basic issue with Linux audio is really the proliferation of driver models. So there's Jack, there's ALSA, there's the old OSS, there's Pipewire. All of these things might work better with this or that sound card, add or no extra latency. So there's a huge ecosystem of people trying things and people sticking with their, I don't want to get hate mail, but some people really are strong defendants of, we like this particular API or that particular API. I just want something that works like many musicians do. If it's Pipewire, if it's Wayland, if it's this or that, just make up your mind, make something that works. But I mean, it's easy to say that and complain, but if you contribute to things that test stuff, it's something else. Contributing and testing is important, and suggesting things. But Linux is so fun that you can take nearly anything that came out in the last 20 years, flash it, make it anew, have it do a specific task. So like for instance,
like you strip down Linux to do exactly only what you want.
You're gonna laugh, right? But this right now is my Pi-hole. You know what a Pi-hole is?
No, not really.
It's something that filters out the DNS queries. So all the spam, all the viruses, all the publicity. So each time one of the machines in the house does a request, a DNS request, it goes through that. And this is so underpowered. That's a BeagleBone White. That's like 500 megahertz with 512 megs of RAM. But it does only one thing. It receives DNS queries and it decides if it wants you to receive it or not. So, and it's all free. And that board cost me $10. So it's right here on the server, on my NAS. You don't want to see the pipes, but that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. And I was blind for it. And I don't know. It's also a matter of being comfortable. I've always been on Windows. I still develop mostly on MS Visual Studio, but all the benches and the tools and the kids are all shoving to Linux. And more, I keep all of these things with Windows dropping. I mean, Windows 11 only working on TPM 2.0, which is not available on many machines. So they're basically saying it's either you put your computer in the trash or you upgrade to a new machine to have Windows 11 and you have support updates. This drives me totally nuts. So this reason alone made me switch to Linux for offer my plugins to work on Linux, because I can't in good conscience, because I kind of an environmental freak here. You know, all these things about like costing too much money or throwing megahertz at the problems or AI at the problem or money at the problem. No, you can do things well. The human intellect can fine-tune things like a discrete clock that's very tight, very precise. You can optimize things greatly, and there's huge rewards in optimizing existing code to work on very low-powered machine. Don't throw megahertz and gigahertz at the problem. So I love my old stuff is working on synthesizers I can't name, stuff that's in the field right now I'm very proud of.
Speaking of work you do for others and versus what you do for Plogue, you do Plogue full-time, right?
Yes. We previously, the main audio engine, which is called Aria, now Formata, was actually sponsored by Garriton, which got bought by Make Music, which got bought by some other equity company that just basically it's Finale. Finale's dead. And they're telling every Finale user to use Sibelius or the Steinberg thingy. Dorico. It's nice stuff. I love the guys. And we did the audio engine, the plugin engine in Finale in the early Sibelius 5 and a bunch of other stuff. So we recycled, we OEM'd our plugin hosting technology, which was in Bidule. So that modular here that I'm using every day. It's old. It was made in the early 2000s, but it does exactly what it does. You have the audio engine in ASIO. You connect the stuff to whatever you wanted it, MIDI or audio. There's no hidden processing. There's no compression. It's every cable is a 32-bit float signal, exactly like all the plugin API expect. There's nothing hidden. So it's like a canvas to put plugins in and to experiment. So all the development is going through there. Some people are using it still, but it's kind of dated in a way. It would need a good brush off, but the people that use it still use it because it does exactly what it does and it hasn't changed. So it's a plus. So the hosting engine has been used in Sibelius and Finale. So that's what got us started with Garriton. Now I designed the Sforzando player. Yeah, Sforzando. So this is our sample player. So that technology has been sponsored by Garriton.
Yeah.
And at one point we got, now at this point in time we're the closing of Finale and Make Music, and we got the rights back to the full like IP of that engine, so we're using it elsewhere.
Oh, cool.
And we are thinking of doing the update, and so in Linux as well. So it's now in Linux, and everybody, since it's free, many people use it now in Linux and use lots of free sample banks and banks that you created as well. You did some SFZ in your days.
I've used it numerous times.
Yeah, it's one of those simple things where it does one thing. It takes a text file, low key, high key, velocity range. This sample, tuck, 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 text file, you can batch it. Yeah. Really simple, it does a job well, no million clickings. People who like this usually batch script their sample library creations. They don't want to, nothing against Contact. It's genius, it's perfect. But if you have millions of samples, you don't want to click in that.
Where do you go from here? Do you have like a whole list of chips to...
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not getting any younger. No. And especially with the rate at which we're shipping things now, it takes like 2 years to make one for my standards and the team standards. So we have, I guess, 6 chip synths in the pipes right now. Like 3 are nearly ready to ship out, but I mean, they're overlapping stuff we've already did, so we're kind of pushing them back. I really want to put the Chipsynth FC, stands for Famicom, so the Japanese console with all the expansions, so all the special cartridges that were made in the day that like kind of boosts the sonic spectra, so you can mix and match the internal sounds with this particular cartridge's special oscillators, and they're all not on the same pitch, so you can get fattening just by stacking them right away because they don't have the same dividers and stuff. The fun thing about, like, you know, physically taking a cartridge, plugging it in. So that's the fat base of the VRC6.
Yeah.
So this is going to be in. This is a FM chip. Well, you might say that's not a Famicom. No, that's a Famicom clone, and I put a Teensy inside and a custom board that I designed, and so that becomes like a synthesizer in a box that doesn't work on its own. You absolutely need to have a Famicom cartridge plugged in. So that just tells me, of course I can drive that to MIDI, but for right now it tells me, okay, the cartridge is, 1 is working, and 2, the connection is right, and 3, 4, the code still works. Cool wavetable 1. All of these carts generate audio,
so
but
they have a custom chip in them.
Yeah, but most of these are the same Namco 173 inside. So all of these I've hoarded, but these are like $1 carts from a seller in Japan. Yeah. But the idea was to make that synthesizer I showed you, to make it's like a small, maybe 100 run of those, and bundle like each of the units with at least one of these carts, and possibly different tiers with different ones, because there are ones that cost a bit more, like VRC6 and this Esper Dream 2. That's the chip that makes those heavy basses in Castlevania 3 and stuff. Yeah.
Wow, cool. And just to make sure that everyone understands this is a pure passion project, but it's also the way you make a living, right?
Yeah.
And even though you have done some contract work sometimes, this is like the main thing you do.
Yeah, it's what stimulates us.
It's so cool that you can do what you want to do, stimulates you, and it also pays the bills. Yeah.
With love Love pays the bills. Thank you so much, Cuckoo, for believing in us for a long time.
Yeah.
You should watch his first video talking about Chipsounds. I'll link it in the description. That made me fall in love with this guy the first time I saw it. This guy, and it's true, and the thing still had bugs, and it crashed midway, but I love the thing anyhow, because he was like, I just bought this, let's turn the camera and experiment it, and oh wow, people can love the things that I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was fun. It was
I
really
think it still happens every
2009
time you
video.
Yeah. when you release a new one, I turn it on and I have the same feeling like, oh, this is special. Even the simpler OPL, the Yamaha, it's so good. It's so good. And we were just joking about like how it somehow clicks when you change parameters and stuff, but the hardware clicks when you change parameters.
It's just that you didn't complain when the thing cost you $50 in a Walmart or in the 80s. Yeah, it was what you got.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. If you haven't understood this, I'm a huge fan. So this is another kind of meet your heroes moment for me. I'm in Canada, meeting my hero. So it's wonderful. So
it's great to
check it out. Plogue, Plogue.com.
Yep.
And I got a bunch of really nice plugins, software. The chip series is my favorites, but the sample stuff and check them out. It's not expensive either.
We try to make
it's really good.
Yeah.
So thank you for all the work you do. I'm looking forward to everything going on in the future as well.
Yeah.
I have seen some peaks.
You know more than they know.
Yeah. And I'm excited.
Thank you.
Cool.
It was really great to show you some prototypes that we have and seeing a reaction.
Yeah.
It kind of enthuses us to go back to it.
Yeah, that's great. Next time. At some point you will have the same reaction that I just had. So some sneak peeks.
Thank you.
Cool.
This is the Famicom cartridge that I designed, Plogue FC OPN2 Revision 0. Right now it's boasting a remarked Yamaha 2612. That's why I brushed off the date code, because it's absolutely BS.
Oh.
Japanese Famicom guts. Normally the CPU goes here, and it's still here, and it still generates the audio, but the main thing that controls the whole bus is this ARM processor here. So by having all the expansion maps, the expansion cartridge for the Famicom for test, I also have my main chip, so I have a SID. Basically all the chips that I have, so that's PSG, that's an FPGA that generates audio, Atari TIA, the Atari Pokey, the OPN2 before I made the final board, a SID cartridge with a real SID 6581 on it. This is a cell phone chip from Yamaha. That's the small thing here. It's MA4, MA3, MA5. And this was only in cell phones, so I designed a small board that fit inside the same board that housed the OPN2, so I'm recycling parts of the things here. And I'm still reverse engineering that if time allows. This is a modified Sega Genesis. So that's an SMS to Genesis adapter, but it comes with a socket for OPLLs.